So a couple different people have asked me to make tutorials about various things. Currently on the F2B forums, we have a lot of questions being asked all over the place about various things having to do with the new thermal expansion. So for this one, I am going to go through a couple of the changes with Thermal Expansion 3 that will hopefully help answer a few of the questions that we're getting a lot of repeats on. First off, you don't have engines anymore in thermal expansion, you have dynamos. A couple different types. We've got the steam dynamo, the magmatic dynamo, and the compression dynamo. More types may be coming. Actually, there's one more in here right now, but I haven't fully played with it yet, so I'm not going to try and go over it because I could be wrong about the information on it. That'd be the reactant dynamo. If you shift over many of the T items, if you just mouse over, it says hold shift, the shift will tell you more information about the item you're looking at. Not all items, but your conduits, your ducts, your dynamos, your capacitors. Hold shift and see if some information pops up, especially if the item says hold shift for more information. So you have your basic steam dynamo. We have our magmatic dynamo, and I have a compression dynamo. The steam dynamos use solid fuels and water. So we'll get ourselves a bucket of water for this, and some coal. Now one of the things that's different here from the previous thermal expansion, you don't need to wrench your conduits anymore. Your conduits know where the energy is going. They know whether the energy should be going into a machine or coming out of a machine. They no longer need you to tell them. They're very smart little conduits. For our magmatic dynamo, I'm going to put pyrotheum in this. The pyrotheum gives the same output as lava, except that there's more of it. So you get more energy per bucket, but the same amount. So it's still 80 RF per tick output. It's just you'll get more from it. Then we have our compression one, which needs a fuel and a coolant. And this is thermal expansion's new coolant, the gelid cryotheum. You'll need to find a blizz to get blizz powder to make the cryotheum, that dust. He did that on purpose. He really did. Now, as you may notice, there's a bar here. If the energy starts backing up, the system gets full, this bar will hold some extra RF. But I've got an energy cell here. This energy cell doesn't seem to be getting any energy. Conduits are there. The energy is going out of the dynamos. Well, the energy currently is filling the conduits. Oh, and now it's backfilling the engines. But I have an energy cell. Why is... Oh, wait. There's colors on this. Well, your conduits no longer need to be wrenched to tell it where to go. Your energy cells do. By default, when placing an energy cell, the bottom is output. It's orange. All the sides are blue, they're input. There's three colors. Yellow means don't do anything here. So I need to change that to blue, and suddenly energy starts going in. Orange sides output, blue sides input, yellow sides do nothing. As normal, we can increase and decrease this way. You can also, with right click, move it down by 100 there. Works out pretty nice, and as normal, if we left shift click the entire thing, everything turns to neutral, just like machines. So that's how that works. Now, There are several tiers to energy cells in Thermal Expansion 3. The two basic tiers only require a redstone block to get made. You make Tier 1 to upgrade into Tier 2. It takes Tier 1. However, when you move up to the next set, the redstone energy cell and the resonant energy cell, these now require liquid redstone. You can't upgrade this tier, the hardened, to the redstone. Well, but what if you happen to have a bunch of those laying around, just empty, that, you made to start off with, or, conduits that you started off with, and now you're not using them because you've upgraded to the better stuff, but you've used stuff. That's okay. Put it in the pulverizer. Use up the energy that's in the cell and put it in the pulverizer. Take your conduits, put it in the pulverizer. You won't get all of your materials back. Think of it as kind of a tax on having gotten to use it early, but you will get some of your materials back. Think of it as sort of almost an uncrafting table, but not really. Now, another one I see a lot is Tesseracts. Specifically Tesseracts and Endothermic pumps. I'm going to change this magmatic dynamo to be using lava for a reason. Let's get ourselves a Tesseract. Tesseracts function differently now than they used to. We're also going to need some fluid ducts. There we go. There are two types of both fluid ducts and item ducts. There's opaque and there's see-through. And then of those, there are fast and there are slow on the item ducts. So you can have fast see-through item ducts, fast opaque item ducts, not quite as fast opaque item ducts, not quite as fast see-through item ducts. The opaque ones are provided to allow for people who are using a whole bunch of them on like a server or something where there might be some concern that rendering blocks in the item ducts is causing lag. Personally, I mostly use them for when I'm burying item ducts or liquid ducts underground. But you use it however works best for you. Now, for ease, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put this here because this will let me see if there's any lava traveling. Now, one of the nice things is you can do this, and it changes. This is forced output mode. TE machines do not need this. If you are turning an item duct, a fluid duct on a TE machine, engine, or whatever to forced output, and your system's not working, that is probably the reason why. Don't do that. It's mostly for interacting with non-thermal expansion things. Railcraft or open blocks. Thermal expansion tanks, thermal expansion liquid machines, thermal expansion tesseracts automatically output. You don't need to do that. Now, I'm going to put this here. Notice the conduit and the item duct have connected to this. Tesseracts now can transfer energy, items, and fluid on the same frequency. I'm going to call this frequency test because I'm not that creative at naming. I'm going to save the frequency. I'm going to set the frequency. And here we can set it to disabled. Security, public access, restricted, and owner only. If you're on a server, you have the option of adding friends to a friends list through the /cosh friends command. So if you have a buddy who's living with you and you want him to be able to access your machines, you can set it to restricted, and anybody on your friends list will be able to access it. if you set it to owner only, only you will be able to access it. There is a config option to override this for Strongbox so that ops can see into Strongboxes. But it will tell everybody connecting to the server that ops are allowed to look in your Strongboxes regardless of settings. So keep that in mind. If you're planning to grief and you're on a server that says ops can look in your Strongboxes, Strongboxes are not going to be your best bet for hiding stuff that you're planning to use for griefing. I'm going to leave this to public because I'm on single player and, well, I really don't care if I have access because, well, it's me. Right now it's set to receiving all. Well, what I want to do with this, though, is use the it to power a pump for lava. So, we'll leave fluid mode to receive only. We're going to set energy mode to send. There's 3 options: send, receive, and blocked. So 4 options, I can't count. Now, once you've activated the Tesseract, suddenly there's an interstar field inside the Tesseract. This tells you that your Tesseract is active. I'm going to swap to default because, while I don't really like the vanilla texture pack, there are some interesting changes that occur with Tesseracts in the default texture pack. So on the default texture pack, when it is set and running, you have an interstar field inside it, and the frame glows with liquid ender. Now let's grab ourselves a lever. There we go. Or really anything that outputs redstone would do for this. We're going to set this to requiring a high. Notice the frame is not enabled, but the Tesseract center is still animated. If the Tesseract frequency is good, but the redstone frequency is off, it's say requiring high and it doesn't have high, the frame will be normal, but the center will be animated. Turn on the redstone signal, and suddenly you have an active Tesseract again. I do need to fix that in my texture pack so that that works, but for now you can see the idea. So if your frame is solid, it doesn't have the ender, and your center of your Tesseract is moving, and you think it should be working, check your redstone signal settings because you might have them set up wrong. Now we need to go to the nether because we're going to set up an endothermic pump. First, let's put a chunk loader down here so this part stays chunk loaded. This won't do us any good if this part isn't chunk loaded while we're doing this. Go ahead and put a chunk loader there. There we go. And we're going to grab ourselves a portal block. Need a basic portal block. Because I'm doing this in creative. Yay! Oh, well, that actually turns out to be a pretty good landing spot for what we want to do. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use the endothermic pump from Extra Utilities. A couple reasons. Endothermic pumps, one, can pump any liquid by default, and unless your configures are set differently, they can pump it in any dimension. They also function as a chunk loader, and they run off RF or MJ. You can run them off either or. That means I can place a Tesseract down here, and we'll go ahead and we will set this to this. We want it to be receiving energy and sending fluid. You can tell it's working because the pump has put down some stone. The endothermic pump will replace lava with stone. So it's functioning just correctly, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. So let's go over here and see if it's functioning on this side. And we have lava. The lava's going in here. So this one sends the energy over to the nether and takes the lava from that tesseract and brings it back here. But we have 3 settings on this. So what we're going to do to demonstrate this, you can use this for like a quarry or something. We need to make sure our items are set to false on this side, because otherwise we could have a problem. We don't want items coming through over there. Now, I don't actually have quarries in this specific pack, but that's okay. I can simulate this. Put a tesseract here, and we will set it to being the same frequency. It is going to send items. It is not going to get fluids, and it is not going to do anything with energy. If I was using, say, a quarry here, or actually we will go ahead and do this. We will have it receive energy. Now it is on. And what are we going to put here? Well, let's go with Mine Factory Reloaded. Grab ourselves a harvester. And look, the harvester is now turned on. There's nothing for it to harvest, though. We also need to go ahead and put something over here on this side. We can grab a chest. One of the common things asked on our forums is about double chests. A tesseract will only output to one side of a double chest. If you want to use a double chest and a tesseract or item ducts of any sort, you will need to do this. You're going to have to run it like this. But this won't actually be needed, though, if you use either an iron chest or a chest from a strong box from thermal expansion, or really anything other than a double chest. There's reasons for that, mainly having to do with double chests being very laggy and not that great on the coding. So I'm just going to throw down a couple trees here. And for demonstration purposes, let's grab a fertilizer. Now it's on. Let's grab an upgrade. Whatever. We'll get a large one. And let's grab some more fertilizer. Or, well, actually some fertilizer, because we don't actually have any. Throw this stuff up here. We don't need this right now. Okay, that's taking too long. Probably because of what I've got my settings set at for fertilizer in the Magic Farm pack. That's okay. Oh yeah, I probably need to put a harvester upgrade as well. Hmm. Okay, well, it's harvesting something. Just not sure why it's not harvesting the trees. Probably didn't wait long enough or something. Ah, yeah, that's what happened. Didn't wait long enough. Took it a moment to scan. Oh, probably because I gave it way too big an upgrade. Okay, so it chopped up everything. And everything is now in here. So, this Tesseract is sending energy over there, sending energy to the nether, receiving items from over there, receiving lava from the nether, and sending it on to the Dynamo. All in a very nice, neat, compact area. Now you can do some more complicated stuff with this, of course, but this gives you the basic idea of how to use all three types on one Tesseract setting. Otherwise, if you were to put each of these on a separate Tesseract, the lava on one Tesseract, the energy on a Tesseract, and the items on a Tesseract, you'd need a lot more Tesseracts, which would be very expensive because Tesseracts have gotten a bit more expensive. Now, item ducts. I see a lot of questions about these as well. So, for this example, we can go ahead and we're going to set up a sawmill to demonstrate what we do with the item ducts in the new version. We're going to need a sawmill. Just going to put this back here. And we're going to put a chest. Do I not have any more chests? Okay, fine. We'll put a regular chest back here. Doesn't matter. Just like in, T2, you need to go ahead and set your machine configurations. So in this case, I'm going to set the top to being blue, that's input. And close the other sides. The back is this side, we want that to be output. Orange will output from both of these. We're going to set our redstone to disabled. Mainly because this will tell you how much power it can take at the maximum and how much it stores in this bar. Now, if you don't want, say, the conduit to connect right there, that's okay. You can just wrench it and turn it off. So now it's connecting there. I like that better. Now let's wrench this here. But nothing's coming out. Oh, we should probably also get rid of the stuff that we're not actually going to be using. We'll just grab some more wood types here for demonstration purposes. Oh my dear, this just doesn't seem to be working. Why is that? Well, with the most recent update for F&P and other things, when you first place an item duct, it by default requires a redstone signal to pull. This says it's backstuffed, and it tells you right now it's holding 32 spruce wood, and 32 oak wood. Meanwhile, the sawmill is chopping away at the jungle wood. Well, what if I didn't want to have to use a redstone signal? Well, in the newest versions, you now will need to take a pneumatic servo and right-click on an item duct. This will count for all sides. You only need one per conduit piece. So if we put that here and we put one here, and see if I try and click on this again, it says it's already installed. Now, with an empty hand, you can open this and you can filter it with stack size, blacklist or whitelist. And in this case, I'm going to use whitelist and I'm going to tell it birchwood is whitelisted. It can use the OR dictionary, it can ignore NBT, it can use metadata, a lot of different things. And we're going to set it to disabled here. On this side, we're just going to set it to disabled. And we're going to toss the birchwood in here. And for ease, we'll go ahead and pull this out. Now, it did put some oak in there. That's because there was already oak in the back stuff. Or we'll put spruce. We have to wait for the back stuff to unfill before it will do the wood we've requested. But now that the back stuff is cleared, this is going to say I can only put birch in here. You could alternatively, if you didn't want to end up with accidental back stuffs, you could set it so that on this side it only pulled out birch. So instead we would go like this, and we would set this side to only pull birch out. Clear the back stuff of jungle wood and oak wood, and then put this in here. And tell it to ignore the OR dictionary on this because we don't want it to be pulling wood that we don't want. Once you get used to the item conduits and the new filtering system, there's a lot of different things you can do with the item ducts and even the fluid ducts. If you install a pneumatic servo on a fluid ducts, you can put in filters to set fluid filtering so that a specific pipe will only receive a specific type of fluid. You'll need the bucket of fluid. But other than that, you have a fluid filter. That opens up lots of possibilities with having different fluids going on the same Tesseract and sending them to different places. I haven't done much testing with that, so you have fun doing that. Strong boxes are another new thing in thermal expansion. And I find that these work great to replace plugins from Bucket when doing a server. Here's why. We put down our Tesseract here. Or not Tesseract, Strongbox. Let's say I wanted to give everybody on my server when they started out these 4 items. Or a kit with like some beginning tools. Put those down. I pick up the Strongbox. And in my spawn zone, I put down a creative Strongbox set to public. And I put this in here. Now I can pull as many of these out as I need. And they all have the same items. So if you put these on a server starting point, you have kits. Might not be useful for everyone, but I like it for that. You can also lock them. They're pretty much explosion proof. The creeper isn't going to get to them. They are smaller than your average chest. And you can put a strong box with items inside other strong boxes. So say you're moving 100,000 blocks because you're me and you just like running away from everybody. You can do that. You can put everything in strong boxes, inside another strong box, inside yet another strong box if you want, and carry it all with you in one lovely little block. On the downside, if you die and you lose your strong box, you've just lost everything, but there's downsides to everything. I think that covers a majority of the things that you'll see with the new differences to TE in TA3. There's a lot more opportunity now for building complex yet compact systems. Experiment, have fun. Let's see, let me make sure I didn't forget anything. There is a new mob in Thermal Expansion, the Blizz. You'll find him in snowy biomes. He's not that friendly, but you should go say hi to him. He's how you get the chirothium for making the Blizz powder stuff. And since we are now at the end of this, for fun, because I love doing this with the new TE, time to burn things. Server owners, make sure you turn this off on your server. It burns everything. Like, really, everything. But, it's fun! Enjoy.